Welcome back. So let's go back to one of our top stories where we saw Police Minister Sansom confirming that 3 illegal labs were discovered in Standerton where we're manufacturing mandrax and other drugs. He and other top officials visiting Mpumalanga today after millions worth of drugs and other goods were seized in raids involving the Hawks and police. So, Provincial Head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, Major General Nico Gerber, joins us now to give us more detail. Major General, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is, to say it's quite a big find, I think is an understatement. We're talking about close to 40 million rand worth of drugs. Perhaps you'll take us to the beginning, Major General, how it was that these labs were able to come up on your radar as officials.
Thank you, Naledi, and thank you for the invite once again. Yes, it is an extremely huge find, and I think the 40 million is a rough estimate. One would get a better indication once everything has been evaluated and analyzed to get an exact figure in terms of that. But yes, in normal processes in the course of our investigation, always as drug peddling and drug smuggling and the use of drugs in Mpumalanga is a problem for us. And as such, we have tasked our members to investigate, gather intelligence regarding this. And then in an intelligence-led operation, we received information and we followed up on the information, which led us to a premises in the industrial area in Standerton.
And now you start off in that industrial area in Standerton, but also finding premises that look like they were very much in a suburban area?
Yes, Naledi, the warehouse was basically the storage facility for the raw products, the precursor chemicals that is used in the manufacturing of the drugs. So it was kept there. There's huge quantities of those that are at the warehouse, which will be removed once we have the proper hazmat people that will clear the premises for us. We then followed up on that what was found at the warehouse after we effected some arrests there of 4 Mozambican nationals. We then proceeded to a farm where these raw products were then mixed together, and the manufacturing process of these raw materials were put together. Once we effected 2 further arrests there, we then thought that we had finished with our investigation. The accused subsequently appeared in court, and whilst at court, we received a further information that there is a premises in a rural area where the physical manufacturing of these mandrake pills were taking place. We then proceeded to that specific premises where we found a pill press machine, spare parts, and a lot of the already processed powder, which was emanating from the farm. In the premises, we also then arrested 3 South African nationals at that specific house. And that is where the huge quantities of the powder material emanated from.
It's quite a network, isn't it? And you talk about the arrests that have been made, 4 Mozambican nationals, then you talk about 3 South African individuals also that have been arrested, but it speaks to just how big of a network we could be talking about. And so I suppose the next question would be where, you cast your net out further as you look at how far this network and certainly the supply lines could go, Major General.
Naledi, that is exactly so. As you would understand, this is but the tip of the iceberg now. We've only started with our investigations. There's a magnitude of evidence that needs to be traced and followed up, and the origins thereof established. So the investigation is actually now only really starting. To hit the premises is one thing, but to build a case and present a proper case to court takes some detective work.
The minister today highlighting, just the role of communities. You talk about a rural setting here where you've got people, for the most part, they're raising their families and, asking the question he does is, could you be living right next to a drug dealer? And it's such a difficult question for communities to answer. Are there signs that you think, could have been there for communities?
I think it's a difficult question to give a straight answer on, but I do think that as South Africans and people in general, we are not very observant in terms of our surroundings sometimes. But yes, I think one can, if you live in a premises, there's a residential premises, there's only a certain number of people that stay in a premises. And if you frequently see in the strange hours at night, people entering with different types of vehicles and trucks and trailers going in and out of a premises, it could give you a suspicion. But I know a lot of people would rather stay neutral, if I can use that term. But maybe it is time that we be a little bit more vigilant what is going on in our surroundings.
Yeah, I think that, and we talked about this at the beginning, just what a big find this is. And I wonder what you make of those that say, well, this is an optimistic step. You've got community members in Standerton that we spoke to, and a lot of them saying that they're so proud of what they're seeing because it speaks to the optimism that there is a massive fight against crime. Talk to me about the resources that are available for these sort of crackdowns to continue.
No, lady, the resources we have, that is not a problem. Especially in the DPCI, we don't have shortages in terms of resources. Yes, we are not fully capacitated in terms of the manpower that we would love to be. I think in the province, we're running at 51% of our manpower. So if we can run at 100%, imagine what a difference we could make then.
Yeah. The aid and assistance that you need moving forward so that you're able to, like we said earlier, cast your net out wider and really get to the bottom of what's going on with this particular network.
Yes, obviously we have our crime intelligence division in the SAPS, which is assisting us in this. We also use the private-public partnerships that we have, and we have up to this point also used some private security people to assist us in surveillance, etc. And we use other public enterprises as well that assist us in our investigation. So yes, there's a vast network of people and government institutions that we will be approaching to assist us to take this investigation further and uncover the whole network.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, before I let you go, Major General, I mean, we talk about 40,000 Rand worth of drugs that were found. 20 million Rand worth of items, 11 luxury vehicles, 3.6 million Rand in cash. I mean, just the visual of that, right? I mean, what you think about when you see that, I immediately am concerned about, the optics of what looks like a lucrative business possibly attracting more.
No, definitely. It is drug dealing and drug manufacturing and smuggling is a huge, huge business. And organized crime, that is their focus. They're in these things to make money. They don't do it just for the fun of it. So it's all about the money. And that is why it is such a big thing for organized crime, especially the drug smuggling part therein.
Yeah, well, keep us updated, Major General. We really do appreciate your time this evening. Thank you so much. Major General Nico, but the Mpumalanga Provincial Head for the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation.